right, in regard to housing and enclosures, you don't have to have a pen, you know, that's fancy, and it doesn't really have to be that tall. We made ours high enough that we can stand up in it, but it can be a lower, you know, coop kind of structure. But the primary considerations for making a pen is that it has to be reinforced to keep predators out. Your goal is not to keep your ducks in. Your goal is to keep predators out so they don't have access to your ducks. So we've got obviously a wooden frame, and then it's surrounded on all sides by 1/2 inch hardware cloth. 1/4 inch would be better. Even the top has hardware cloth. We had put chicken wire over it, and then as I did more research, thank goodness, early on, we learned that the chicken wire will not keep out most predators. A raccoon, bobcats, even dogs can chew right through chicken wire. So the floor is also reinforced with hardware cloth. Obviously you can't see it. We've got some paved stones along this side of the pen too, because the ground was not real level, and if it rains enough the water pools and collects and starts running into the pen. So to raise that side up, we've got paved stones, but there's still hardware cloth beneath it. So there's really no openings. Right at the corners we have some little gaps. There's a little chicken wire there on top of that gap, and in some of the gaps we just stuck it has a stick stuck in it, wedged in it. We've got some little corners where we've got like a Brillo pad, stainless steel pads. Other corners we've got just a little rolled up piece of the hardware cloth that's wedged in there. So when this is closed up, everything seals up nicely. For the door, it's got to have latches that raccoons can't figure out, because raccoons can pretty much figure out any kind of latch. You guys need to go on the porch, Bandit. Go on the porch, please. Go on the porch, honey. Okay, back to the video. So these carabiner latches work well, and have certainly worked well for us so far. We put this structure up in March of 2016. Here we are now, end of April 2021. This one we just had to set up this way because we couldn't figure out a way to get this little thing over here. So during the day I do leave the pen open unless I have a duck convalescing or a boy that's being too rough with the girls. Cooper. But the primary point I wanted to make today is that it has to be reinforced so that animals cannot get in and that they can't pull your duck or parts of your duck through. And sadly that does happen. So when you use cattle panels and other kinds of fencing that have bigger gauge openings, the ducks, you know, might be, they're curious about something, or they're just close enough to whatever surface that is. Come on out of there, Cooper. That some creatures will just pull them through piece by piece. Ducks need a minimum of 4 cubic feet. Cooper, Bennett, and Bandit. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. So, and our dogs do great with the ducks, again, and the geese typically are ready to intervene if they get too close or too curious. But they are animals, and so in spite of the fact that they've been with these ducks now for a long time and they do really well with them, I do not take chances and let them interact unsupervised. So shooting a video and trying to keep track of where the dogs might be wasn't a good combination. Now I don't know if I'm going to remember exactly where I was when I was talking to you guys. As far as what's in the pen, ducks need water 24/7. You can read and talk with people who will tell you that that's not the case, but it is the case. They are waterfowl. Their bodies stay hydrated and healthy by having access to water. Wild ducks sleep on water unless it's a mama sitting on a nest of eggs. So they've got to have water 24/7. As adults, I stopped putting food in the pen because we would find that mice and rats and things that had gotten in during the day when the doors are open would all come out at night. So they hide during the day when the ducks are in and out and when we're in and out. And they would come out at night, and I could see, so we've got cameras in the pen, and I would check in on the ducks with the cameras and just find swarms of rats and mice eating their food. That's not safe. That's not healthy. So I don't put food out. Now, when they're ducklings, they have food out 24/7. And so until these guys are 10 weeks old and off of their vitamin and electrolyte water, they're going to have food in their pen overnight, every night. And so far, we haven't had any problems with that. Their mama goose and daddy goose do stay in that room with them overnight. And I don't think anything could hurt the ducklings because of that. So we do have, I know you can't see now, but we've got this plastic, like, I don't know what that's called. It's just roofing. It's the kind of scalloped roofing. And we have that over the top, as well as the hardware cloth and the chicken wire. And on the back half, we have tin. And we put that there originally just so they would have a shady spot in the heat of the summer, because we didn't have this vinyl roofing on top. But a good hard rain would still result in water dripping almost everywhere in that pen, so it wasn't sealed very well. So we've got this tarp that covers the whole pen. Again, they're water birds. It's not that the rain hurts them, but they do need a place at night where they can, you know, stay warm and dry if it's cold. So we just keep that tarp on it year round. It does have to be replaced from time to time, just because as the wind flaps it around, it'll start tearing. This second little room we added to the pen about a year after we built the main room, and it was for I had hatched some babies, and so they were brooded in there once they moved from the garage to outside. It's a little bit smaller, as you can see, but still a lot of space. I mean, we, you know, again, have had 6 and 8 babies brooded in here at a time. And the back wall right now still has tarps over it just to keep the north wind out. But as we move more into the summer, those will be rolled up so that we can have good airflow to help keep them cool. Ours are pretty spoiled, so we do have fans. Got 2 fans in the big room and the 1 fan in the little room. They have a chandelier. None of this is necessary, obviously, but I wanted to have fun with it, and I found that chandelier at an estate sale, so it became part of the decor. They do have some other little decorations here and there. This is the little name sign I made for the original 6 ducks we bought. We do have a little coop attached to the side. Again, the little windows do have the hardware cloth in place. A tin roof. It just gives us some more square footage for the ducks, and it's attached right here. So there's the inside of that room, and it's attached here. See how we've got hardware cloth so that there's no opening for an animal to get in through where that's up against the side of the pen. There is 6-foot chain link fencing behind the structure, which that helps with some animals, but I'm telling you, a lot of predators can get through chain link fencing, wire welded fencing, cattle panels, chicken wire. I mean, even little tiny snakes could probably get through the 1/2-inch hardware cloth, but little tiny snakes are not going to go in and swallow your ducklings and eat eggs. So just want to really direct you toward focusing on a structure that's big enough, that is predator proof, that you can access, get into and out of easily enough to change out bedding and collect eggs, and maybe that has little spaces where you can keep ducks that need some special attention separated from the rest of the flock, but still where the rest of the flock can see them, because you'll run into some problems with ducks that are nursed back to health in the house for a week or two, and then they won't be accepted by the flock initially when they come back out. So that's the first part of the video today. And as always, if you have questions, leave comments. I'll be happy to provide more information, but I think I covered everything I wanted to cover in this part. Right, it may go without saying, but ducks and geese are waterfowl, which means they're more aquatic than they are avian. So water is critical for ducks to stay healthy and happy. And if you want to prevent a lot of problems, it's best to ensure that they have an adequate water source every day of their lives, every day of the year. Obviously, there are situations where you might have to isolate a duck. They may need to stay inside. It's still important to offer them plenty of drinking water, and depending on what you're treating, put them in the bathtub or in some small receptacle to let them soak. Ducks actually hydrate themselves as much by being in the water and drawing water into the tissues by swimming and being in the water as they do drinking water out of buckets or bins or whatever you might use. Okay, we'll talk about foraging and free ranging now. Our ducks don't really free range because that would indicate there are no fences and they really can go as far as they want to go. We do have good fencing to keep them in, but you want to understand that ducks were created for a purpose, and part of their purpose is to explore and enjoy their environments, look for things to eat and things to occupy their brains and work their bodies. If you start establishing routines from the very beginning, it's easy after a couple of weeks even to condition them to keep to those routines. So having treats is a great way to do that. Again, no treats until they're 6 or 8 weeks old if you are raising them yourself, but if they're being raised by bird parents, you can offer those treats as soon as you start letting them out to forage and explore. And you just have to keep in mind that when you're working with nature, you have to respect the inherent dangers associated with that. Part of that means you do have to accept that because ducks are not very high on the food chain and other animals have to eat, there is always the potential for losses related to predation if they're going to be out ranging and exploring. And I just want to stress here too that chickens and ducks should never be mixed together. They should not be housed together, and even ranging and foraging when there's a lot of space around them is just a bad idea. And you don't have to hear too many stories from people that have had heartache associated with that to just accept that and not try and buck the system. So I encourage you to let your ducks be ducks, but also know that there could be potential for some unpleasantness from time to time, and your goal is just to work to strike a balance.